My people, I say. Okay, so what you guys see on the table is the pride flag. It's in the fan. Again, trying to send me subliminal message about Pam, even when I was going to Walgreens to get my prescriptions. Now, this is the last time I'm going to speak on the subject because, again, I've shown you guys enough to let you guys understand and see and know that in this program, what they do to, if you're a TI, if you're involved with somebody or you were involved with somebody and you love that person, how they will either they will drive a wedge, they will drive a wedge between you and that person, and they will use external forces to do that, whether it be another man or woman, whether it be, to get into another relationship, get them pregnant, and then abandon them, and then they come back to you, right, and want to get back into a relationship with you, and they feel because you're targeted, and it's like what Pam told me, the whole world is against you, that you're supposed to take them back, right? No. So then they run the gay theme, and we run it on her, and they be working. I don't know. I don't care. So I am not going to talk on this subject anymore because I've given it too much of my attention and my time, and it's time for me to move on. Because like I said, I don't really care. If that's what she wants to do, that's what she wants to do. If that's what anybody wants to do, that's their business. That's what they want to do. Okay? But as a black person and seeing how they target me in that matter, I want black people to understand that, they're targeting us and our children in that manner also. Right? So be aware of that. All right? Now, so I forgot to mention when I went to Walmart, my prescription that they told me that I had to, that my insurance is no longer covering is sumatriptan. Sumatriptan is a headache medication that I take for when I get my ice pick headaches, or when I'm being remotely monitored and stuff like that. So I said this before. They will deny you any sort of they will try to stop any sort of medication that you're on, particularly if it's one that if it's a medication that you take as a result of them psychologically and neurologically harming you and damaging you. They will tend to want you to not take those things. Like every time I have a prescription to get, they always send me subliminal messages, right? Either going to jail or do a shot. The same thing over and over and over, right? And though sometimes you're not consciously thinking of it, subconsciously, it's in your mind. So I was supposed to go over the weekend to get it, but I didn't go. Why? Because and I had went by Pam over the weekend. I was there Saturday, and I didn't go pick it up. Well, actually, I got there late Saturday and Sunday. What happened Sunday? Oh yeah, we got into that, little tussle argument, and and I left, and it was late at night. Not really late, but it was the pharmacy had already closed then. But this is what they do, and so just be aware of that, right? Because they understand, because they create these psychological programs, right? And some these psychological definitions and names, and what they do is that they use people perception, right? You hear them say perception is everything. So visual perception. So if you're, and law enforcement do this all the time. Like if they know that they have a warrant for somebody, they will surveil that somebody. They will wait until that person is at their in terms of visual looks. If it's a well-dressed black man, they're not gonna do it. They'll wait till you get in your shorts or what have you, and then or early when you're just getting up in the morning, you didn't brush your teeth, your hair's all wild and everything, to try to make, what I'm saying, they want to give the world a negative perception of you black men, okay, and of you TIs too, right? So understand the game that they play, and it's not just law enforcement that does it. It's these gang stalkers, the religious institutions that do it also. You know, when they use psychological conditioning on their members, right? And a lot of them will purposely go out of their way to recruit people to cause you pain in order to try to bring you to God, right? They do this, okay? They literally will do this. They will literally destroy your life, right, in order to bring you to God, right? That's all part of the recruiting scheme. So we have to understand that and realize that. Okay, so like I said, I've studied this program for well over about 15 years or so. You know, so I and it still affects me, and it had, because, you know, with the remote neural monitoring and the silence aspect spectrum, there is no defense against that, right? There is a PDF you can find online called "The Mind Has No Firewall," right? So it doesn't matter what you do as a person, if they're targeting you with these technologies, right? There's no way to defend yourself against it, even psychologically, particularly if they drug you. Because the drugging the reason why they drug you at first is to soften your mind, right? To make your mind more conducive to the psychological programming, right? So that's why they have to drug you, right? So you will be affected, whether you're going to talk about it or not. You will be affected by it, okay? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So, yeah, like I said, so I'm not going to talk about her in terms of what they subliminal message they're trying to send me her, because, you know, like I said, I've given enough attention. I've shown you guys, and, you know, going forward, you know, that's going to be there. I may mention her name in certain things, but in terms of those things, I'm not, you know, I'm not going to mention anymore. But anyway, like I said, we have to understand as TIs what is being done. And don't let people try to fool you and tell you that it's all in your mind. That is just their way of escaping, right, accountability for what they've done to you, right, by putting it on you. Okay, my computer screen, my television screen, right, by, you know, by putting it on you, by saying, oh, it's all on you, it's all in your head, right? I mean, narcissistic people do that to you all the time. People in relationships who cheat and are not honest, they'll tell you that, oh, it's all in your head, you know. No. But then when you find out, then it's like, then they'll be like, well, oh well, you know, if you weren't looking for it, so you found it, so that's on you. You know what I'm saying? It's like the like, that's what Pam said to me. She was like, well, you know, you weren't looking for it, that's all on you. You should have just left it alone. And I'm like, listen, you know, I said I would have left it alone, right? But the fact that the way you started treating me, it's not to say you cheated and you was treating me with respect and, you know, duty or kindness. I said you went in the opposite direction. So yeah, you know, I mean, come on, how stupid can you be, right? So, you know. Anyway, yeah, that's what I wanted to say too about the medication, is that they'll try to stop any medication that is related, that you're taking, that is related to the damage that they've caused you psychologically, neurologically, physically, right? In order to say that, well, you know, all of this that they've done doesn't really affect you and didn't really harm you in any way, right? This is their logic. And we can go back decades, right? When they experiment on black people, you know, what did they say? What as Dr. What's his name? Heath, I have it up here somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. I made a post about it. I'm going to read it, okay? Because, you know, and the you know, women and black men and black boys, okay? This is what they used to say, and they still say it. They still do, you know. They're just more covert about it, but it's, you know, still happening. Let me see if I can find it here. Going, because again, we have to really understand and realize what's going on here, because, you know, as a people and as TIs, you know, we're in a battle to where is it? Trying to pass this things. Okay, here you go. All right, so I'm going to read this. All right, so it says Harry Bailey, an Australian doctor who briefly worked with Heath on his electro study, accused him of picking out African American for his experiment because, as he puts it, right, it was cheaper to use niggers than cats. Okay, now this is from The Wired. Is the man who attempted to use pleasure conditioning to turn a gay man straight, right? But what they didn't tell you in the article was how he used microwave or radio wave frequency to change the sexual preference of a 12-year-old boy, right? To make him feel, right, emotion, manipulating his emotion, feel and think that he's now attracted to the same gender. Okay, so let me finish. So it says so Harry Bailey, an Australian doctor who briefly worked with Heath on his electro study, accused him of picking out African Americans for his experiment because, as he puts it, it was cheaper to use niggers than cats. They were everywhere and cheap experimental animals. Okay, let me pull up that article, because again, I'm just reading it and you guys are not going to believe me.